On the streets, my brother's dying, and I hear the mothers crying, crying out, and the way that things are going.
Well, this is a shot of Southeast Asia, which is one of the regions of the world that has the most biomass increase per hectare. It's really quite substantial because farmers are going into agroforestry quietly, but at a very large scale. What's really interesting are countries like India, China, and Brazil, where you see this increase in tree cover also playing out, and has been further accelerated by a very forward-looking agroforestry national policy that India has just enacted. So India's tree cover is increasing quite rapidly. China has been going into agroforestry in certain parts of the country, and this is an example of wheat production with timber trees intercropped with the wheat. And the beautiful thing is that the timber trees, in this case Paulownia, are deciduous, so they don't have leaves during the wintertime and they don't shade the wheat crop. So you're getting 2 crops at a time, a higher land equivalent ratio. Well, you know, Hans, I was just at the World Congress of Agroforestry a few weeks ago in Montpellier, France, where we were looking at all sorts of agroforestry systems that are coming up in Europe. And this is one of them, where walnuts or poplar or other trees are being incorporated into wheat production systems. And the great news is that the Common Agricultural Policy is now seriously supporting the development of agroforestry in Europe. And we're going to see a lot of this development coming up. And so, I guess we have a couple. Must be a European in the crowd. But I'm still waiting for my slide to change here. There we go. So why don't we, folks, start thinking about stretch goals? If we know that the world's agricultural land is already increasing in tree cover at a rapid clip, why don't we double or triple it? Because remember, all of these trees that are going out there on farmers' fields are not being subsidized, they're not being paid for. They're being planted or regenerated by farmers who are making money from doing so. That's what's happening, and we're so unaware of this phenomenon. So I'm proposing that we double and triple the rate at which we increase tree cover on agricultural land through the development of agroforestry systems. Now, there are many ways, as you all know, to dramatically increase the tree cover in agriculture, and these are some of the major ways in which it has been happening, and in fact provide a basis for how farmers integrate trees into agriculture successfully. Now, yesterday Hans told us that agroforestry was a part of sustainable agriculture, a part of agroecology. He made it quite small. You know, the font size of agroforestry is a bit small, so you might have missed it. So I wanted to show you that slide again, because I think that one of our great opportunities in the agroecological community is to combine efforts with the agroforestry community, which has not been done successfully and which has tremendous potential for the future. So I make a bid to all of you in agroecological networks to get in touch and let's work together on the ways in which agroforestry can contribute to those agroecological systems. And indeed, Hans did show some trees in his presentation yesterday. The combination of Acacia El Nino with maize production, which is one of our major opportunities here for integrating trees into crop systems in Africa. Oops. But I want to end my presentation by reminding us of a dire warning that came out in the IPCC 1.5C report last October, in which they said that we must immediately decarbonize the global economy. We knew that. we must also recapture hundreds of billions of tons of CO2 back out of the atmosphere. Now that is a troubling situation. But there are biological approaches to capture carbon, and these are the ones that they mentioned in the report. Protecting our current forests, restoring degraded forest lands, increasing tree cover on agricultural lands, and increasing the biomass production of pasture. But they also mentioned something else which was really disturbing. There it is. They actually indicated that we will have to convert 500 million hectares of agricultural land to energy crops in order to produce this carbon capture and storage. Now, is that possible? Is it possible? Half a billion hectares? Not at all. We're going to have to do this some other way. And the question I ask you is, are there alternative ways to increase carbon capture that would not require the conversion of agricultural land? Are there ways to deploy that on farmlands that could increase crop production? Absolutely. And we've been working on these for decades. These are methods of including in crop fields dense populations of shrubs, leguminous shrubs that increase crop yields at the same time that they increase the production of wood for fuel and electrical power. And this is how it looks in Zambia, where 70,000 farmers are producing their maize with Gliricidia shrubs and cut them back at the end of the dry season, providing biofertilizer, fodder, and wood fuel for their household or for power generation. This is how it looks when they finish their harvest. And then, during the crop season, these leguminous shrubs, which may be up to 5,000 per hectare, are not competing with the crop because they only grow when the maize is harvested, and they produce their wood during the dry season. And so, what's interesting is that we're finding that farmers are seeing dramatic increases in crop yields as a result of simply including these leguminous trees in their fallow or in their maize production systems. Whether on experiment station work like this or on farmers' fields, we have a dramatic increase in crop production. About a doubling in Malawi. And so, what we found is that in Sri Lanka, they have commercialized this system. They are now using Gliricidia for power generation in a number of power plants, and they're expanding this process. And my slide clicker is just about ready to die. It's just not moving anymore. But she thinks I need to end, so maybe I should. Yeah, this is a case of one of the village-sized units, and they're also producing units up to 10 megawatts of power from the production of Gliricidia shrubs in their production systems in Sri Lanka. So we can produce electrical power and produce all of these socio-economic and biophysical benefits as a result of simply putting leguminous shrubs into smallholder cropping systems. Now, we're working with countries all over Africa to implement these kind of agroecological systems with agroforestry. And we're making a lot of progress because we are working with so many different organizations. And I'm almost finished. There we are. This is called the Evergreen Global Alliance, which involves development NGOs, conservation NGOs, research organizations, and others. And if you are interested, then please get in touch and we'll start working together. And my last slide is the inspiring words of R. Buckminster Fuller. And I think this is very, very cogent for agroecology. You know, we always talk about fighting the big ag interests, etc. Well, Fuller says you never change anything by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.